Hello, friends and family. I just wanted to share with you a quick story of something the Lord did recently. In November, I was going on a trip to California and then to Florida for some training and for leadership meetings. But before I left, I was busy with some engagements, meeting with different groups, sharing about our ministry and what God has been doing. And one group in particular was a men's group that meets on Monday mornings. And while I had scheduled to go with them on a particular day, that got canceled because of some things that came up, and I ended up having to postpone a week. But when I did finally go, I met a man named Mark, and Mark came up to me after the meeting, gave me his business card, and said, "Matthew, I'm a mechanic, and I own a shop, and I would love to serve your family in any way I can with your vehicles." And so I thanked him and thought, that's great. We've been looking for a mechanic. It's good to have one. But I didn't really think too much beyond that. A few days later, I went to another meeting. But in the morning, when I was getting ready to leave, I went out to our cars and went to the truck that I've been using, and the battery was flat. And I didn't have time to try and jump it, so I instead switched and took our van to this meeting. And I went there, had no issues. The meeting went great. But as I was leaving the meeting, suddenly the van started shifting out of gear and into neutral. And initially it just did it a couple of times. If I shifted into park, put it back in drive, it was fine. But the further I went, the more it started doing it until it finally reached the point that I couldn't go anywhere and I was stuck in a parking lot in a shopping center. And so I was sitting thinking, trying to figure out what to do. And then I remembered Mark, and I remembered his card. And I happened to have it in my pants. And so I pulled out his card and I called him up and I explained to him what was going on. And he said, "Look, don't worry about anything. Just get your van over here, and get a tow, and we'll sort it out once you get here." And so I organized a tow truck to come. And while we were driving over there, the tow truck driver started talking to me about all the different auto shops that he knows in the area. And this one in particular that he was taking me to, he said he'd never had any bad reports. He'd only ever heard good things from them. But based on the fact that it seemed like it was my transmission, I really should take it to ShiftWorks over in Fayetteville. And so I'm kind of just enjoying the conversation, and we pull up. And as we get there, Mark comes out and he says to the tow truck driver, "Look, don't even take it off the truck. I'm just going to have you tow it straight over to ShiftWorks in Fayetteville." And so the tow truck driver and I had a little bit of a laugh, and but I really wasn't prepared for what happened next. Mark came over to me and said, "Look, I've got a van here for you. It's in perfect condition. It's just sitting, so you can take it right now. You can use it as long as you need. No charge, nothing. Here, let me even help you get your car seats and everything out of your van and into this one. We'll get you set up and ready to go." And he said, "And by the way, one more thing. I didn't get to tell you the other day. What I meant was I was going to open an account at my shop for you for any service you needed over the next year. And so it looks like God's already provided for you." And over the next week, he proceeded to take care of everything that needed to be done with the van. The transmission was fully rebuilt and repaired, and he even did a few other things before returning it to us. And all said and done, it was about $2,500 worth of service that we had not budgeted for, we had no money for, and yet God provided. But even more amazing than that in itself was a huge miracle. But more than that, just the timing. I hadn't planned to take the van that morning, but yet I was leaving the very next day to go to the airport. So we could have been on the way to the airport and the van breaking down. Or Angela had planned to go and visit her parents up in Tennessee that weekend, and she could have been somewhere on the road to Tennessee, but yet God spared her that and took care of the car. And there's so many other things that we've seen over the last few weeks that happened just because God delayed the timing. And one of the things that the Lord was really speaking to us and showing us through this whole thing was the fact that he makes provision for his people. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not worry about tomorrow. Do not worry about what you will eat or what you will wear." He said, "Seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." And sometimes it's easy to quote those verses and to think, it's cliched. Yet God does it over and over and again. We've seen it so many times where he has done things that we couldn't have prayed for or asked for. We weren't praying for a new transmission because we didn't know we needed one. We weren't preparing for a new transmission because we didn't know we needed one. And yet God, in his abundant grace and abundant mercy, made provision. So we just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you're encouraged, and hope that it blesses your day. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah for those that will be celebrating soon, and just the blessings of the Lord upon you.